Hello, this is Dylan Knows on a rare Monday. It is Monday, April 1st. The reason why I'm doing today's episode of Monday is I wanted to talk about the stuff that happened last week, but my Saturday and Sunday got really booked up really quickly. Saturday, my wife went to a friend's house to play D&D. My son spent the night at his friend's house. So my daughter and I stayed home. We had a movie marathon. We watched Free Guy, Turning Red, and Doc Hollywood. So that was fun. And so we did that till about midnight. And so I was like, I didn't want to do a show after that because it would be like 2 hours or an hour and a half, and it'd be 1:30, and I was tired. And then Sunday, we had dinner with my in-laws, celebrate my father-in-law's 75th birthday. So I couldn't do it then. So I figured I want to do this because I want to talk about a lot of stuff that happened last week. But we're going a little bit overhead, which means this upcoming week's episode coming up this weekend is going to be shorter because I'm doing stuff from today and yesterday that I usually do on next week's show. So it all evens out. But the main thing is we're going to talk about the Oscars and the slap heard around the world. And I actually did much better than I thought I would. We're going to talk about the first episode of Moon Knight that came out. We're going to talk about my review of Turning Red. We're going to talk about some new movies, some new TV shows, some casting, some trailers. A very rare minimal death week. I think only one person died, so I'm not even going to make it. I'm just going to, when I get to it. Well, more people died, obviously, last week, but celebrity-wise, there was one person who died. So we have some of that. We've got some sports stuff, I believe. We have, as always, new food stuff. Coke has another new drink after their, what was it, the Star Shine one or whatever, the one I had a couple weeks ago. I forget what it's called now. It's been, I guess it's forgettable. But they are really getting into the mode to try to catch up there with Pepsi and Dr. Pepper. So they've got a new one coming out, which is just as bizarre as their space one. So we'll see about that. We have a lot of stuff to talk about in space as well. And I had a interesting creative week last week. So I'll talk to you about that as well. But I guess first we'll just hit the Oscars real quick. I know it's been talked to death, so I'm not going to go absolutely crazy for this stuff. So we'll just talk about, yes, Will Smith did hit Chris Rock on live television, slapped him after he made a joke that was defaming to Jada Pinkett Smith, his wife. And there's been both sides of the story talking about it. In the end, it's both people's faults for the most part, but I guess, everybody was like, well, they should realize that at these places they're going to make these jokes, but still it wasn't a very cool joke to make. And then now we have these new things saying that, Jada should defend herself and not Will defend it. It was just all kinds of. So I'm actually really kind of sick of it. I mean, I probably would have been more inclined to talk about it if I did it over the weekend when it was more fresh, but it's been done to death. So you all know the story. You all know what's going to happen. I'm not really going to give you my take on it because it's really not worth it because it's over and done with. He's apologized. Chris Rock hasn't apologized, but that's besides the point. But Will Smith has apologized. He has resigned from the Academy, which means he cannot vote for the Academy Awards and he cannot give out awards anymore. So he can still act, obviously, but that's going to be even harder now because, as you'll see later on, a bunch of projects that he's working on have all decided we're probably not going to do these with you just because. And in the end, I think it's kind of stupid, to be honest, to what's the word that the dumbass Republicans use? Cancel him. I don't honestly understand it. You should let the court of public opinion deal with it. Make your movies with him. He just won Best Actor award, and he, and half the people backed him up for what he did, and he's still a fairly popular person. So I think just go ahead and do your movies with him. I understand the whole thing. Well, we can't do it but it's also something I think that's eventually going to go away and calm down. So we'll see. But real quick, my record this year, last year's record, I was 11-12. This year I was 15-8, which was nice to see that. So that's a good sign. The breakdown goes, Dune got 6 Academy Awards, which is mind-boggling to me. Coda got 3, including Best Picture, right? We won Best Picture, right? Yeah, including Best Picture. And Best Actor in a Supporting Role. They got some of the big ones there. We're not going to go through them all because it is a school night and I don't have a lot of time. So I'm just going to break it down there. The Eyes of Tammy Faye got 2, which is interesting. They were nominated for 2 and they won both of them. So that's kind of interesting. And I also learned that Andrew Garfield is in that. He plays Jim Baker in that. So his 2021 is still crazy. Spider-Man No Way Home, Eyes of Tammy Faye, Tick Tick Boom, everyone loving on him now, and now he was working on this show that's going to be on Hulu, I guess, coming out soon. So he's having quite a year for himself. So, but The Eyes of Tammy Faye is the only one that won all the awards they were nominated for. The hell is that? Belfast. Okay, I wrote that so fast. Belfast won 1 award. Cruella won 1 award. Drive My Car won 1 award. Encanto won Best Animated Film, but did not win Best Song. That was won by No Time to Die. Billie Eilish, that one. Will Smith won Best Actor for King Richard. That won that one. Power of the Dog won for Best Director for Jane Campion. They only won 1. And West Side Story won 1 for Best Supporting Actress. So that was it. That's the breakdown. We can stop talking about Oscars until next year. But 15-8 to me, I think, was a really good. The Oscars itself returned to what I found kind of a boring aspect. 3 hours and 38 minutes, which is really long. Again, it should only be 3 hours at most. I thought that they were going to do a live version of the Bruno song. We don't talk about Bruno with the cast doing it. They didn't have the cast come out there. They had some Tejano singers sing it, which I thought, okay, I kind of wanted to hear the cast perform it, but whatever. The hosts were okay. We probably didn't need the hosts, and they were barely in it. Amy Schumer, who I really don't like all that much, actually had a really good monologue, which I thought was good. And then who was one of the other ones? I forget one of the other ones. There was she was making jokes about being, thirsty, and had all the cute guys come up on stage with her, and that was dumb. And then Wanda Sykes did the tour of the Academy Museum, which was interesting, but again, all this stuff could have been excised, and they could have actually done the live awards that they didn't show them. Instead, what they did is they showed little clips of them announcing, and the winner for the best sound is this movie, and they didn't do the nominees, and then they did a little snippet from their speech, and that was it. So I found that kind of stupid. The the thing that really, really got it was Apple TV became the first streamer to win a Best Picture. They did the Coda movie, and it won. So Netflix doesn't have a Best Picture win yet. Neither does Paramount Plus or HBO Max or any of those yet. So Apple TV Plus is the first one to win that. So streamer to win that. So that's pretty good. Then they had these to try to draw people to come to see the show. They did these fan favorite moments and fan movies or whatever, and the nominees were absolutely ridiculous for most of them, and it was voting online, and of course the Snyder Bros came out in force, and both Snyder stuff won, and so they could, he won for that god-awful zombie movie. And then the best scene in a movie, the best cheerful scene was Flash discovering the Speed Force. It beat Avengers Assemble. It beat The Matrix. That's a bunch of bullshit. It was a bunch of stupid ass bullshit. Zack Snyder bullshit. And it absolutely was fucking ridiculous and should not have been done. And is not a fair assumption of what was going on. You had the Snyder Bros come in and vote multiple times. You should have capped it at 1 vote per person. And that was it. You should have done a better job of doing it, or you shouldn't even do anything like that. If you're going to do a fan favorite moment, do it for a movie that came out this year. They were doing stuff for The Matrix and Cinderella, so like that stuff didn't come out. I mean, the original Matrix, not the new one. You should, if you want to do something like that, make it for the movies that came out that year, and cap the voting off and really push people to vote for that stuff. So it was stupid. And then the Snyder Bros were like, "Yeah, we won. We're the best thing ever." Blah, blah, blah. And it was absolutely disgusting is what it was. So kind of annoyed about it. So it was kind of an annoying Oscars, and then the whole Will Smith slapping Chris Rock and then immediately winning Best Actor right after that. And then all the shit show that's been going on after that. It's just been insane. So we're going to cap it at that because I don't really have a lot of time. And honestly, I'm tired of talking about it and discussing it. I've talked about it over and over again with people over the last 10 days now, technically 8 days, but whatever. So I'm done. So I'm moving on. I had quite the week. I'll get into this here. It's 11 minutes in, so why not get into a little personal business? I had quite the week. I think I mentioned this on the show a few months ago. I used to do some extra work for the TV show Homicide back in the 90s before I was married and had kids and stuff like that. And Pat Moran is the Baltimore casting agent. She's casted every movie that's filmed in Baltimore. She's casted every show that films in Baltimore. Well, not the main cast, obviously, but she's the one that does all the Baltimore casting. So she's the person to go to. So a few months ago, something came over my Facebook page about a show called Flamingo that Pat Moran was presently in the process of casting. It hasn't been announced yet, but they did say it is a streaming. It's going to be streaming on a major streamer. Didn't tell us what it was. It is going to be a mini series. Didn't tell us how many episodes it is. They said it'd be filming in Baltimore from spring of 2022 through fall 2022. And they were looking for men and women ages between, I guess, 30 and 50 years old or something like that. And children between the ages of like 6 and 12, something like that as well. And then they also sent out a note saying we need real rabbis and boxers and policemen and lawyers and stuff like that to also audition so we can cast you in other roles for that too. So they said this is how you send your, send in a picture of your headshot and your, whatever history you have of doing, theater work or movie work or whatever. And send it to the Pat Moran casting email that they put it there, and they'll get in touch with you. So yeah, that's fine. So I did that in about a month or so ago, and I hadn't heard anything from them. So I was like, okay, it's probably in process. I was thinking that they would probably want me for maybe an extras role where I wouldn't have to speak, and they would, about a couple of weeks before they were going to film the episode, to say, hey, we need you to come to this place on May 14th or whatever, and stay for the whole day or something like that. So that's what I was expecting. So last Tuesday, right? Yes. Last Tuesday, I got a text about 8:30 in the evening from Pat Moran Casting saying, we want you to do a video audition for a speaking role on Flamingo. And they gave me the character's name. And right now, I can't think of it right now because I'm sort of in a quandary about things. And I'll get to that in a second. And they said, this is what we tell you about the character, describe the character. And then they said, we cannot explain more about your character or what the story is about. All you need to know is that it takes place in the 1960s and you're a metal foundry worker, and they put a piece of the script up there, and these are the lines that we want you to use when you're doing your audition. And then they told you how to do it. You had to videotape it, and not through YouTube, but through whatever means you can, and it has to be a .mov sort of thing, and you have to send it through one of these sites that you can download these things from, not a YouTube page or whatever like that. So they had all the script, how to do it, and then they had the script. So I print out the script, and then the next day, that Wednesday, I wrote down my lines. There weren't a lot of them. And I spent the whole day at work while I was working trying to memorize these lines and going back and checking on them, stuff like that. And because they needed the video audition by Thursday at 5 o'clock. So that only gave me 24, 36, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 26, like 34 and a half hours, something like that, to memorize the words, the lines, which wasn't hard because there weren't a lot of them. Get into a 1960s style sort of costume and get your audition filmed and send it out to them. So I did all day Wednesday. I memorized the lines, and I came home, and my wife and daughter helped me out, and they my daughter read the lines that I was reacting to, and my wife was filming it, and I had it memorized. And then when we started filming it, I blanked, but that's what you do, multiple takes on it. They wanted at least 3 takes delivered to them, and a slate, which is just you saying, Dylan Lang, 6'5", your height. And then you send it all to this place, and they'll have it done. So we did all that. Eventually, I got 3 takes I was okay with, and it took us a while to set up the app that we were sending it to. And so we downloaded it and we sent it to Pat Moran on Wednesday night before, a full almost day before it was due. So got that done. And then nothing happened Thursday. Didn't expect anything to happen. And this website that I was using, I said, give me a notification when somebody downloads my, thing, meaning that I know that they looked at it. And so then on Friday, I noticed that it said only 4 days left or 6 days left on this download. Apparently, I didn't read the fine print. The free version of this app only allows these downloadable things for 7 days. And if they don't download it in 7 days, they delete it. But you don't want to send an email to Pat Moran and say, you need to do this, because that's not how it works. They're going to find that they might think you're being a little bit too pushy or whatever. So that's why I've been in a bad mood today because of that, because I'm down to 2 days, actually, probably 1 day by now. And then I realized that maybe the reason why they haven't downloaded it yet is because they wanted the name of the character in the description of the audition films, which I did do, but they also had my slate that they didn't tell me how to write it. So I just wrote my name on it as my slate, so they knew what it was. And thinking that they wanted my slate first, I downloaded that first, and that's what popped up in their email thing. And I was like, I started thinking about that today. I was like, they probably don't even know who the hell I am or what character it is. And so they're probably thinking that I'm a stupid moron, and they're not going to download it because I didn't follow the directions properly, which they didn't really explain to me too well. I should have downloaded one of the videos first and just thrown the slate in there. So when they download everything, they say, oh, there's a slate right there. So they know which character I was doing it for. So I'm getting a little panicked about that. I have probably 1 day, they have to check it by tomorrow. If they do not check it by tomorrow around this time, it's done. And that's freaking me out a little bit. And look, I'm probably not that good. And the fact that it was a speaking part is something that I'd never done before. And I haven't been acting in years. So I was a little nervous and stuff like that. So I would rather be rejected by them after them seeing the effort I put in and that I followed the rules and stuff like that. And maybe they'll use me for something down the line. I don't want to be known as a guy who's like, well, he fucked it up because he didn't follow directions properly, so we're not even going to look at it. So I hope to God within the next 24 hours that they download it and they take a look at it and they say, this is okay, or we want a second audition, or this sucks, we don't want to see you again. And I'd be fine with that, because I started thinking about that. So before I got this email saying that I was going to audition for it, I was like, okay, it's a streaming thing. That's pretty cool. So I had this idea in my head for a story that I've been wanting to write for a while, but I decided I was going to turn it into a 6-episode streaming show. Obviously, I don't have a streamer lined up yet, but that didn't matter. I just wanted to see if I could write, because I've notorious for starting and stopping stuff multiple times and never coming back to stuff. So I wanted to make sure that I get what's in my head right now and spit it out onto the page. So we've been slow at work. So when I've had some time, I've written some stuff at work. I've written some stuff at home. So eventually on Friday, I finished the first full script for the first episode of this show I have in my head. And then today I started, I wrote 5 pages for the second episode. I've got all the other episodes laid out. It's just a matter of writing them. So I'm in a groove right now when it comes to writing. So I'm kind of happy about that. So that's the one good thing that happened. But obviously it's just really, for me, it's just that I want to get this out of my head. I want to write all 6 episodes. I want to do it the way I want to do it, how it's in my head, and then I can go back to it. I can, edit it, cut it down, fix it, whatever. And then I'll go from there if I decide I want to try to sell it to one of these streamers. I doubt it would even, they probably get tons of submissions every year. So, but I just want to, for me, I just want to get it written so that it might mean that that I did something, I finished something, so I can start working on this other stuff and get that finished as well. So that's to be continued. So right now I'm anxious because I think I screwed up sending the pictures. And the fact is, in 24 hours, they're going to be deleted, which really sucks. I mean, I guess I could resend it, but at the same time, though, they needed in by 5:00 last week. So if another email pops up with this stuff, and they have to go like, what is this guy doing? What a moron, or whatever. They're not, no, we're not even going to take a look at it, So we'll see what happens. So moving on. Pluto has ice volcanoes, like nothing else in the solar system. So I got my Pluto shirt on. And so I figured there's a Pluto story I can do. So there's that. I talked about the new, well, actually I didn't get there yet, but there are, if you go to a grocery store and you see Coke bottles that have yellow caps on it instead of the regular white ones, what does that mean? Well, you're only going to see them during this time of the year, because it basically means that they are kosher for Passover, which means that, Jewish people who have to keep kosher during Passover can drink that Coca-Cola because it is kosher, which means that they did not use the corn syrup that they usually use in the Coke. They instead used the real sugar and sucrose, because the corn is something made with corn. I think it's not kosher. So they made a special set of this Coke with real sugar and not with the corn syrup stuff. So that's good on that. And I think I'll find that other Coke story, because I figure it's a good one. I think it's going to be here at the end. Coca-Cola Zero Bite Soda, BYTE. So it's going to be Coke Zero. It's called Bite, BYTE, and it supposedly tastes like pixels, which doesn't make any sense, because they said that Space One was going to taste like stars, and it didn't. It tastes like cotton candy and campfire. So it's a Coke Zero, and I'm the biggest fan of Coke Zero, but in the end, if I do see a Coke Zero Bite soda, I will probably try it just to say that I have tried it. I have not seen it in stores yet, obviously, because I did not even know it existed till like today. So it might be in stores starting tomorrow, and I got to go to the grocery store tomorrow anyway. So that'll be nice to see if they have it up there. The Star one, my local grocery store, they bought a whole bunch of it, and now it's gone. So I can't even get that anymore. I enjoyed it, actually. It was good. I just can't remember the name of it anymore. So did that. There was a new teaser trailer for Doctor Strange. Didn't really show too much. So some extended scenes, like a funny line about, how Doctor Strange needs an Avenger, and Wanda's like, there are other Avengers, and then Doctor Strange's like, well, we can get you back on the lunch boxes or whatever, if she helps him out. But the one thing that came out of it is that the movie comes out May 6th, which is still almost a month now, so it's not really that far away. Tickets go on sale for the movie on Wednesday. So if you want to get advanced tickets at your movie theater, if you're going to go see it in the movie theater, I've already taken Friday off, May 6th. I'm going to go see it in the movie theater before I see it with my family, which I'm an asshole, but I always do that anyway. So maybe I'll go to the movie theater over the next week or so and buy my tickets for the opening show, so I can just walk right in and have them. So we'll see. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with that yet, but that is available now. Daniel Craig tested positive for COVID-19. He's the first celebrity that we know of that's tested for COVID recently. So just want to get in there. Scarlett Johansson and Chris Evans, who have a very palpable chemistry and have been in, not counting the Avengers stuff, they've been in like 2 or 3 other movies together that weren't Avengers related, and then all the Avengers ones they did together. They're doing another one now about the space race called Project Artemis, and it's directed by Jason Bateman. So it'd be interesting to see them being cast together. And speaking of people who've worked together multiple times, Emma Stone has joined the cast of Ryan Gosling's adaptation of Martin Weir's Project Hail Mary book. That Martin Weir is the guy who wrote The Martian, and Project Hail Mary was his 3rd book. And Ryan Gosling was already cast in the role, so they got Emma Stone to join the cast. The 2 of them have been in a couple movies together, so they were starting to re-team together. So good on that. The movie that will never die, and probably also never get made because strange things continue to happen about it. The Crow reboot is now back on the table. After the Jason Momoa one, where it looked like they were going to be making that, and had a director, they had Jason Momoa there ready and raring to go, and then all of a sudden they both decided, no, we're not going to do it. No reason given, just nope, not going to do it. So I don't know what that's all about. So now we have a new reboot that's going to star Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise in the new It series, It movie thing, and I can't. Rupert Sanders or something like that directed. I can't even read my handwriting anymore, but he's directed. So they're the ones that are working on it now. So we have the guy who played Pennywise in the new It updated film is going to be playing the Crow. So that's kind of an interesting casting, I think. Speaking of Pennywise, I know it's around here somewhere, so I might end up having to, just tell you what it is, and then when I find it, I will cross it off. But there is, I think it said HBO Max has signed on. There it is. Here it is. HBO Max has got a Pennywise origin TV series for HBO Max, and a prequel series called Welcome to Derry. So the guy who wrote and who directed the It Part 1, It Part 2, the more recent one with the aforementioned Bill Skarsgård, is going to be producing this prequel miniseries that's going to lead to how Pennywise came to be. So no word that Bill Skarsgård is also going to do that as well, because he's got this Crow reboot and he's got this Welcome to Derry. So we'll see what's going to come first, what's going to come second. So we'll see. A lot of shows finished filming up stuff. Mandalorian Season 3 has finished filming, which means that if they can work on the special effects now, it very well could be ready in time for a December release. So we might actually see the Mandalorian Season 3 this year. Not holding my breath, but it's possible. The Walking Dead is done. They have just wrapped on their final episode ever of the regular Walking Dead series. Now we go to the multiple myriad of, there's at least 3 or 4 spin-offs that are coming, and the movie series with Andrew Lincoln. So we still got a lot of Walking Dead left, but the actual show in general has finished filming its last scene, its last episode. It is done, kaput, and now they go on and focus on to the spin-offs. So we have that. And what else is finished? Batgirl, the HBO Max movie, has finished filming their movie as well. They've wrapped filming their movie. And what else is there? Is there anything else? Can't see if there's anything else. Extraction 2, the Chris Hemsworth Netflix movie. It finished production. So that's another one that's done. So a lot of these, films and TV shows are finishing up their stuff, and we're going to see them sooner than later. So that's good on that end. It's never too early to talk about summer. Spirited Away, the Hayao Miyazaki animated film, which got a lot of Oscar nominations and made some good money and is considered one of the best animated movies of all time, is getting a stage play, which will be streamed live on Hulu this summer. It's got puppets and special effects and all kinds of stuff in it, but it is a show, a stage show that I'm assuming will probably be in Japan. But it will be streaming on Hulu this summer. A live broadcast or something like that of the show will be of the show, so you can actually watch it on Hulu if you have it. Riverdale is one of these shows that seems like it's always been around forever, and the cast is pretty much like, can we end this show now? I mean, that's a weird thing to say. That you would think that you want to keep working on a show because it gives you employment and makes money, stuff like that. But the actors are like, I really want to kind of move on with my life. I'm kind of tired of doing this show. And it's not just one person. If one person can do it, they could just say, I'm leaving. I'm not going to sign my contract. I'm out of here. But it seems like the entire cast is like, can we just finish this series? So maybe this upcoming season, they convinced the producers, can you just make this the last one and let's move on from that? So we'll see how that comes about, see if that's good on that. Some Fortnite news. When season 3 or chapter 3, season 2 started, it started with a no build mode, which means that nobody could build, because that's one of the I'm not going to actually look at that right now. Nobody, that's one of the key things about the show, about the game, is a building, which just means when somebody starts attacking you, you're able to, if you've collected enough materials, you can build boxes and ramps and towers and stuff like that and get the high ground and protect yourself. And you've seen those types of things on Fortnite, and that's what made Fortnite kind of unique. But it also upset a lot of just the regular everyday players who can't build or have tried to build but just can't crank 90s like these people can. And I'm one of those, I can't do it very well. And I hate seeing just these giant things come up. I'm just like, whatever. So this no build mode was fantastic, but the builders were bitching and moaning about it, and Epic said it'll come back, but it has come back. Last week it came back, but with a little bit of a twist, is that you can now play both in a no build mode or in a build mode. And you still be able to get XP. You'll still be able to finish your challenges. It all bleeds over. So if you'd rather just play a no-build version, then play the no-build version. If you want to play the build version, play the build version. It's all going to work out. So if you want to do both, it's still going to count towards, you're not going to have a new set of challenges for one or the other. They're all still your challenges. So you can finish them either in the build or the non-build format. So that's kind of good. I as I said, I'm not a builder. I prefer the hand-to-hand PvP sort of stuff. So I'm extraordinarily excited about that. So I've been playing that lately, and I've been leveling up like crazy because every Tuesday we're getting a new update tomorrow, so we'll get some new challenges tomorrow, and then we're going to get even more challenges on Thursday. So there's going to be lots of opportunity to level up. I think I'm over 70 right now, level 70, 71, something like that. So there's that. Minions: The Rise of Gru, brand new trailer of that came out. It's a Minions movie. It's young Gru, voiced by Steve Carell, that has they've had to manipulate the sound to make him sound like a child, but it's him, and it looks okay, I guess. So nothing more I can say about that. The Usagi Yojimbo trailer, which is going to be an animated series on Netflix, they actually are calling it Samurai Rabbit, the Usagi Chronicles, and they released the first trailer of it because that comes out at the end of April. And I'm not sure I like it. Usagi Yojimbo is supposed to be like a Mifune picture, a lone samurai wandering the jungles and the countryside looking for work, and running into there's different species and creatures and battles and supernatural stuff like that. This turns him into like a wisecracking sort of rabbit who's in the big city sort of thing, and he's got a crew that he works with, and I'm not sure if I really want to see it now. It looks okay, but not at all like I was expecting. I was hoping for a more down-to-earth samurai sort of animated cartoon where he walks amongst the countryside and does stuff, but that's not going to happen. So we'll see. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, there were some complaints about that Disney Plus was editing some of the violence out of it. There was a certain episode where there was blood coming out of someone's body, and in the version that you can see, it's been fixed now, but a version that somebody went to see, they deleted the blood. So they're like, oh, Disney's editing their stuff, they're trying to make everything family friendly. It's all censorship, blah, 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 like that. Well, if you just settle down there for a second, son, and realize that actually what Disney said was, it was not a censoring of it. It was a issue through a glitch or something like that caused it to happen. It has presently been put back in. So you can say that they're lying or whatever. I don't care. I believe them, and you just have to move on with that. First episode of Moon Knight came out. It was very good. I liked it a lot. It's very bizarre, but it just throws you right into the action, and it gets you just as confused as the main character is. We get the first appearance of Ethan Hawke's really good bad guy. He's got scales on his arm that move when he judges people. And then if they fail, he sucks the life out of them. So it was pretty cool. And we also, I believe, at the end of the episode, we got a shot of Werewolf by Night, and we actually get the first close-up shot of Moon Knight in costume. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday when the new episode comes out for that. Speaking of that, kind of sad, or not sad, it was just kind of like, I guess you could say disappointing news, but they've made it worth your while. Now, Disney Plus has said they have to move the date of Kenobi's premiere from the Wednesday, May 25th, which would have been, 77, 87, 97, 2007, the 45th anniversary of Star Wars, which would have been absolutely perfect to have the premiere episode of Kenobi appear on that. They've moved it to 2 days after, to May 27th. But even though it's not going to be on the date of the Star Wars 30th anniversary, they're throwing us a bone because they was a scheduling conflict or something like that. I think there's going to be a major Star Wars celebration on that day, and they don't want Kenobi to get sucked into it because people won't be watching that. They want to watch the Star Wars stuff, whatever. I don't really know what the situation is, but they moved it 2 days, and to pacify the fans who are angry that they're not going to be able to watch it on the 45th anniversary of Star Wars. But 2 days later, they said, well, we'll give you 2 episodes. So when it premieres on Friday, May 27th, you will get 2 episodes, the first 2 episodes of Kenobi. So that's kind of a bonus. That way you can get a 2-hour sort of Kenobi movie and get an idea of where the story's going and stuff like that. So that's kind of a big deal. I should have done this Fortnite story when I was talking about before, but there's another Fortnite thing where a Fortnite player wins the victory royale after the final 2 opponents get banned. Right there are 3 people left, and 2 of the players got banned because they were doing illegal stuff, and that caused the person who was remaining, who wasn't doing illegal stuff, to win the victory out pretty easily without having to protect themselves. So that's pretty good. A local council hires a hawk to tackle killer London seagulls. I don't know what that means. I guess they've been attacking dogs and people. I don't know if they're killers, but they're attacking them. So they hired a hawk to fly around and scare off or attack the seagulls so they don't attack people. So that's kind of interesting. April 1st was the 2018 was the 14th anniversary of one of REM's best albums, Accelerate. After a couple of pretty lousy albums, this one got them back to their hard rock and fast. Their fastest album is about 37 minutes long. It's about 10 songs on it, and they're all really, really good, fast-paced, stuff like that. Scientists have discovered a planet orbiting a dwarf star that could support life for billions of years. It's in the Goldilocks zone, despite the fact that the star is weaker than ours and smaller than ours. It is the planet in the Goldilocks zone, and you're still getting enough that you'll be able to have liquid water on the surface and stuff like that. Now, this planet is fairly new in creation, so it must have been created out of the explosion of the star. So NASA's going to keep an eye on that for a while. The first planet also outside of our solar system has been discovered to have a magnetic field. So that's another big scientific deal as well. The mysterious cloud that scientists and astronomers have noticed on Mars's surface over a particular area, the Arcia Morris volcano, hasn't been around for a while. It is now back. And scientists and astronomers trying to figure out why it's back. But it is. Let's see, is there any other real quick science ones I can find here? Not a lot here. No, okay. The one thing I do know is the new, I don't think I have it in this, I don't have it here. I might have talked about it last week, I don't remember, but the new space telescope that has just launched. One of its assignments is going to try to pinpoint an exoplanet that scientists have picked and lock in on it and get the first pictures of a planet outside of our solar system. So that'll be really cool if they can do that. And this doesn't make any sense to me. The moon has enough oxygen to sustain 8 billion people for 100,000 years. I don't know, because if you can't breathe on the moon, there's no atmosphere. So does it mean that the oxygen is locked somewhere in the ground? I don't know how they discovered that. So if that's the case, well then, we can probably have a, group of people living on the moon now forever, a moon base, whatever. It has officially been discovered that Uranus and Neptune, it rains diamonds on their planet. They don't have a planet surface, but if you go inside the planet and it's the big ball of gas, you will be inundated with raining diamonds. There was an ice something shows signs of a massive solar storm that hit around 71, 76 BC. So there was like a ice patch somewhere that's been around since BC era, and scientists discovered that there was a massive solar storm that hit around that time. And I'm still trying to figure out how that actually happened, how they figured that out. Scientists also discovered evidence that suggested a comet set the Earth on fire 13,000 years ago. So that's another interesting little scientific space thingamabobber that came out this week. A recently found crater was located on Mars. It is recent for them. They are postulating that the space object hit Mars and created this crater somewhere between February 2006 and March 2014. But in the cosmic scheme of things, that is almost a brand new sort of a crater that hit. So that's kind of an interesting little tidbit as well. Brandon Sanderson, who is a fantasy writer, has just broken the record for most money gathered for a Kickstarter. He made $41.7 million on his Kickstarter, which was for the release of 4 novels that he has not written yet, or has written and is now just needs to get them, bound and printed, stuff like that. He wants to self-publish them, so he wanted to do that. I think he said the goal was like, we need about maybe 5 million or something like that, and he ended up getting $41.7 million, which is the record for most money gathered for a Kickstarter. So congratulations to him. He's the guy that finished The Wheel of Time for Robert Jordan after he died. He worked closely with Robert Jordan, and he used Robert Jordan's notes and added his own little sort of flair at the end to finish up the Wheel of Time story. Bruce Willis is retiring from acting due to his aphasia, which is a new disease that affects the way someone talks. Kevin Smith, who has been notoriously talking about what a horrible experience he had directing Bruce Willis because he was a pompous ass, felt bad about this thing. So he's apologizing for the negative response to it. There's really no reason for you didn't really have to apologize, Kevin. I know you're being a good guy because this guy has a disease now, but he was a dick to you and the movie, and probably was the one that tanked that movie. So you didn't need to do that, but it's nice that you had that as well. So Bruce Willis will not be doing any more movies. And also because of that, also the Razzies, which their first year, they had one whole category in the Razzies, which was Bruce Willis films, because he released a bunch of stinkers direct to video this year. So they say we're no longer going to do that either because of his aphasia as well. And Jim Carrey has said he is considering retiring as well. He feels like he's done everything he can. And Sonic 2 comes out this week, and that's going to be his last movie if he does end up doing it that way. So we'll see what happens. Speaking of Sonic is getting his own cereal, basically probably to connect with the movie that's coming out this week. Probably make some money too. Officially licensed Shrek Burlesque show. So if you've always wanted to see a burlesque show which has the story of Shrek in it, it is officially licensed by the creators of Shrek that they can go ahead and do this burlesque show. So yeah, go for it. Eddie Murphy is in talks to play George Clinton of the Funkadelic group. I can't think of their George Clinton's band. So he's a funk musician. Jim Henson is getting a definitive documentary from Ron Howard. I don't know if he's directing it or if he is just producing it, but we will get a definitive documentary about the life of Jim Henson, his creation of the Muppets, Sesame Street Muppets, stuff like that, his life and everything up there and leading up to his death. Ryan Reynolds has 2 of the top 10 most popular English language films on Netflix. This new, the Red Notice one, which just came out, and this Apollo Project one are both considered to be in the top 10 right now. I talked about the god-awful and crappy Zack Snyder. Well, the god-awful and crappy Michael Bay made the news last week twice. First, he said that he believes he may have made too many Transformers movie. And I can say, no shit, Sherlock. You should have only made one and been done with it because you were god-awful and let someone else do it, a better job of it. But no, you end up making 5, I think. And now he's saying that he shouldn't have made as many. And even Steven Spielberg said, dude, you made too many of them because Spielberg produced them. And he also said he has a new movie coming out, I think this week, called Ambulance. And he says that he thinks a lot of the CGI in that film is crappy. So he's already dissing his own film that he directed. So it's stupid director week here on Dylan Knows. I talked about Andrew Garfield when I was talking about the Oscars. His Hulu show Under the Banner of Heaven released a full-on trailer with him speaking and stuff like that and getting a general idea of the storyline. So it looks pretty good. But again, I think it's like only a Hulu or FX or something like that online, which I don't have, so I won't be able to watch it. The Sea Beast on the other, and so it was a good trailer for Hulu. Now, this is one trailer I will be able to see. July 8th, the Sea Beast animated movie from Netflix is going to be coming out. It made an appearance in the Netflix year pumped up video where they showed all the original movies that they're doing coming out this year, clips from them, and this was one of them. So now we got a full length trailer for the Sea Beast, and it actually looks outstanding. It's July 8th. So I'll have to check it out when that comes up, but it looks really, really good, and I'm excited for that. Oh, yeah, I already talked about that first Exoplanet. There we go. Kevin Bacon is rumored to have joined the cast of the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, holiday special, and there's also more rumors are floating around that Mark Hamill will be playing the MCU version of Santa Claus. Because a lot of people were speculating that he was going to be in the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and he's going to play the guy that created Rocket. But now it looks like that he is going to actually play the the version of Santa Claus in the MCU. But the Kevin Bacon thing, because Star-Lord has an obsession with Kevin Bacon, so it would make sense for Kevin Bacon to make an appearance in this sort of holiday special thing that last week, as I mentioned on the show, that James Gunn says is the best thing he's ever done. So that's going to be really interesting. House of Dragons, the Game of Thrones prequel, is set for a August 21st, 2022 debut on HBO Max. Another Game of Thrones show. Maybe people can stop bitching about how bad the other one was. The final season was, I should say. So we'll see what happens. Sharon Stone is in final talks to play the villain in the Blue Beetle movie that is, I guess, currently being filmed right now for HBO Max and movie theaters, I guess. Top Gun Maverick, the sequel to Top Gun, which comes out May 27th, is getting a new trailer now, and we get a little bit more idea of what's going to be going on. As expected, Tom Cruise's character from the original is playing a teacher that nobody wanted to come in and teach these kids how to fly, but he was picked by the Admiral Iceman, who Val Kilmer playing the Admiral, who says that this guy, that Tom Cruise's character comes very well, high regarded. So that's good. Robert Rodriguez announced this week that he is going to be rebooting his Spy Kids franchise. So he's doing it. So it's not like he's saying we're going to reboot it and someone else is going to do it. He says, I'm going to reboot it for Netflix, because he had a pretty good deal with Netflix. Some of the movies he did, that one with Pedro Pascal, I think, it did very well for him. Finding Nemo is supposedly also supposed to get a Disney Plus series, so we'll see if that in fact comes into play. We'll see what happens. Anna Lore has joined the cast of the CW's Gotham Knights as Stephanie Brown, the spoiler character, so they're really throwing everything at this show. So that's kind of cool. A traffic stop has uncovered $6 million in fentanyl in a spare tire. So that was good that they were able to stop that right there. Clark Gregg, whose birthday is today, who played Agent Coulson, has been cast in Snowpiercer Season 4. So that's good on that. The CW Stargirl has also cast the character of Obsidian for their new season, who is the son of the Golden Age Green Lantern, who I guess is a character on the Stargirl series, so, or mentioned at least. So we'll see about that. One of my favorite comics of all time, Astro City, written by Kurt Busiak, with art by Brent Anderson, covers by Alex Ross, basically creates a brand new city which filled with heroes and villains, but instead of following the heroes and villains around, we take a look at the people who inhabit the city and their crossing over with these heroes and villains. Now, there's been some episodes that have focused on the heroes, but a lot of this and their more personal lives, but the series is more about how people react to these superheroes and supervillains attacking their city constantly. It is a very well written comic. It has gone from, I think, from Image to Wildstorm to DC back to Image, which is where it is now. They're releasing a new series of comics. They've got a one-shot came out last week, and the Metro book, which is a massive, trade paperback collecting 18 issues of the first 18 issues of Astro City is out. So I bought that. I'm going to reread that. So it's been a while since I read it, but it is a very well-written comic book. If you ever want to read a really good comic to get you into comics, but you're not into like superhero stuff like that, Astro City would be perfect for you. It's got a history. It's got, it is a fully formed world and has, it must be crazy. Kurt Busiek probably has books and books of notes about this place because he owns the rights to it. So if you want to get an Astro City movie or TV show or whatever, you got to go through Kurt Busiak. So, but you should get right on that, actually. Now, one of my other favorite movies from the late 90s, I think it was 1999, actually, which I really, really liked. But now here we are almost 23 years later, as announced that the Full Monty will be returning to Disney Plus, actually more like Hulu, but Disney Plus is the one that's producing it, in a limited series in 8 episodes, and most of the original cast will be coming back for the reunion of it. So it should be interesting to see what direction they go in, because all these actors are now 20 plus years older, and they weren't that young to begin with. So, we'll see what happens about that. Funko Pops have been growing in popularity for a while, but they sort of leveled off a little bit. But that could change because the first standalone Funko Pop store will be opening very soon. Before then, you had to go to the actual factory to pick up special characters or ones you might be missing in your collection. But now they will be they're opening their first like mall store or standalone store. I don't know exactly where, but it'll be opening somewhere soon. So you actually be able to just be going and get all your pop stuff that you need. And so if they're successful, you might see it in your neighborhood sooner than later. Apple pie dessert hummus is a new thing. I like hummus, and I don't know if they use the chickpeas in an apple pie flavor or if it's just an apple pie stuff that you use to dip stuff, but there is an apple pie dessert hummus out there now. Speaking of comic books, the only death we had this past week, I should say, was artist Gary Leach. Who was a British artist who worked on such classic British comics as Judge Dredd, Miracle Man, 2000 AD. He passed away at the age of 67 this week. A glass vibrator urn is now available. So if, say, your husband passes away, you can have him cremated, and 21 grams of his ash can be put into a glass vibrator, which you can use on yourself, but will have your husband's ashes in it while you're getting off. It's basically as if he was getting you off, except he's dead. I guess is a good idea. I suppose. A T-Rex fossil has been auctioned for $31.8 million. This is a full T-Rex skeleton for $31.8 million to an Abu Dhabi museum. So they have taken possession of the massive Tyrannosaurus Rex full fossil. So that seems about right for a fossil like that. Spider-Man's 60th anniversary is this year. He is getting a biography about him written by Peter David, who was a writer of Spider-Man, which is due out on September 6th. So we'll have to check that out as well. Some football news. The owners got together and approved a new playoff overtime system where it used to be with the overtime in the regular season and the postseason was the same, with a few exceptions. In the regular season, before this change came, overtime was, you have the coin flip, and the team that gets the ball first, if they go down the field and score a touchdown, game's over. But if they go down the field and kick a field goal, or they're stopped and have to punt, whatever, then the other team gets the ball. All they have to do is kick a field goal, or they can go for a touchdown if they want to, but they can just kick a field goal to win the game. Now, in the regular season, they have one 10-minute period, and if the score is still tied at the end of the 10-minute period, it's a tie game, and you move on to the next game next week. Overtime, you can't do that. I mean, in the playoffs, you can't do that because you need to have a team eliminated. So it's a sudden death elimination. So they will keep playing until someone wins. But this new rule now is definitely in response to what happened in the AFC Championship game between the Buffalo Bills and the Cleveland Browns. No, it was the Bills and the Chiefs, right? Yeah, it was the Bills. I'm sorry, it was the Bills and the Chiefs. I think, regardless, it was two teams. I think it was Bills and the Chiefs, and it wasn't the AFC Championship game. It was the game before it, where it was a high-scoring thing, and each team was scoring, and then the other team scored, and the other team scored like that, and it went to overtime, and Kansas City got the ball, and they ran all the way down and scored a touchdown, and they won the game because they scored a touchdown. And that upset Bills fans because they thought that the Bills could have done the same thing, gone down there and scored a touchdown in their next drive because it had been happening all game, and they should have been given a chance to do it, particularly in a sudden death elimination game. But that wasn't the case. Those are the rules. Kansas City won that game. They ended up getting beaten by the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC Championship game. The Bengals went on to lose the Super Bowl to the Los Angeles Rams. So they decided to change that rule so that now in the playoffs, even if the first team to get the ball scores a touchdown, the other team now has an opportunity to respond and tie the game up as well. So each team is now going to get a possession. And even if you score a touchdown on your first possession, you will not win the game automatically. So that's the new playoff rules there. Look close to home. Our coach, John Harbaugh, has signed a extension to be our coach through the year 2025. It's a good call. And so we're going to have him as our coach for the next 3 years. So that's good. And Bruce Arians, the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, all of a sudden retired last week and elevated Todd Bowles to be head coach. Bruce Arians is now going to be in the office of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we're doing an office job. And rumors are abounding that Tom Brady is the reason he forced Bruce Arians out as the coach and sort of forced him to retire and to get Todd Bowles to come in and coach him. So because he thought that the Bruce Arians offense wasn't working for him, and he thinks that Todd Bowles would probably be a better fit for him. That's the rumor. Don't know if that's true or not. That's just my hatred of Tom Brady coming out. But it seems very odd that Tom Brady comes back, says, I'm not going to retire anymore. I got unfinished business. And then a week later, Bruce Arians says, I'm retiring. So take it as you will. I talked about the shitty, awful, goddamn, pathetic Zack Snyder bullshit asshole motherfuckers, stuff like that. And one of his biggest things was to cast the awful Ezra Miller as the Flash. He is terrible as the Flash. He's a okay actor. He was okay in the Fantastic Beasts stuff, but he's just not cool. And everyone loves him. They think he's the greatest Flash, and also, and he won that fucking vote award for the Oscars for best moment as he entered the Speed Force, which is a bunch of bullshit. Anyway, so Ezra Miller, for those who don't remember, a few years ago got busted for beating up a chick, but everybody said, "Oh no, it's just all play acting. It wasn't real," and was swept under the carpet. And so the Snyder Bros were like, "Yeah, it was fake. Yeah, no, that he didn't really attack somebody." Well, guess what? He actually probably did, because he just got arrested this week for attacking 2 more people at a bar. His ass should be canceled now too, and not Will Smith. It's pathetic. The Snyder Bros and just Ezra Miller's awful Flash. And he's got his own movie coming out this fall. Actually, it got moved to next year, didn't it? That's my hatred of Snyder Bros. But the truth of the fact of the matter is, he got arrested for assaulting people at a bar. So he's not right, and he needs fucking help. Get some fucking help. And Snyder Bros, just go the fuck away. And Zack Snyder, do something, goddamn it. You're the reason. I used to think you were okay, but when the Snyder Bros start attacking people, physically and online and pulling out all kinds of toxicity, you cheer them on and you say, yeah, because it gives you a visceral thrill, you pedantic little piece of shit. I'm done. Gary Oldman has joined the incredibly increasing, humongous cast of Oppenheimer. And that's just, how are you going to fit all these big stars and give them all equal time in this movie about the creation of the atomic bomb? I have no idea how you're going to do it. 25 years ago this week, Chasing Amy came out and went on to big success. If this movie wouldn't have been a success, Kevin Smith would not be Kevin Smith. He was a guy who made some movies in the early 90s and then went away because his Clerks did phenomenal. Mallrats almost destroyed his career, and now Chasing Amy came back and got Oscar nominations and stuff like that. And it allowed him to do Dogma and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and all the other stuff he's done, and set his career in place. And he said as much too when he started discussing the 25th anniversary of it. So good on that. Talking about Will Smith, Netflix and Apple TV are no longer trying to purchase the rights to Will Smith's biopic that he's been trying to shop around recently. Also, the action film that Netflix was going to do with Will Smith has now been shelved as well. There was already issues with it as well because the director left before they even started filming it. And this is before the slap happened. So it's a film that is troublesome right now. So we'll see if I Am I Am Legend Part 2 that he was just announced that Michael B. Jordan and Will Smith were going to do, if that's going to continue. And now the new Bad Boys film has also been sort of shelved because of this also. So we'll see what happens. The Blackish spinoff show, Grownish, is losing six major members of the cast in their 4th season. 6 members, major roles, not small roles, major characters are leaving the show in the 4th season. And it just is mind-boggling to me something like that would happen. Harrison Ford has joined Jason Segel in a Apple TV series from the Ted Lasso team called Shrinking. This could be Harrison Ford's first foray into the streaming series. So that could be interesting to see what happens with that. Morbius came out on Friday, April 1st, and the reviews from the critics were absolutely horrendous, calling it the worst Marvel-esque movie ever made. Saying how terrible it was, that the post-credit sequence made no sense, and it's just in general, terrible, awful film. 39% on the Rotten Tomatoes, which is really, really bad. But again, as usual, critics don't quite understand what the regular public wants, because the regular public has pushed it to about a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is above 50, which means it is not rotten. It is actually a well-liked film. And it made $39 million domestically and 84 worldwide, which is way more than they were expecting it to make with all this critical stuff. Though not enough to be a huge success, but enough that it got people going, huh. So we'll see what happens. A Leonardo da Vinci design is going to be turned into a drone, because we know, if you know anything about Leonardo da Vinci, yes, he's drawn, he's painted, religious pictures and stuff like that, but he also dabbled in aircraft and stuff like that. He built a lot of like the Batman wings of the 1930s when Batman first came out were rumored to be based on Da Vinci stuff, and so they created a drone that uses one of his designs. That's pretty cool. Crunchyroll is going to be ending ad-supported free streaming for many users, which I guess means that you will have to pay to have Crunchyroll now instead of having a free one that has ad-supported. So we'll see how that happens. It's a Small World ride at Disneyland and Disney World has been turned into Encanto for a limited amount of time. And instead of It's a Small World, after all, they will be playing We Don't Talk About Bruno. So that's good on that. The Lightyear trailer, the new trailer for Lightyear, the Pixar film coming out this summer, came out. And again, it's just kind of nothing too outstanding there for me. On the flip side, everything you've heard about the Pixar movie Turning Red, people complaining about whatever, ignore those fuckers. They don't know what they're talking about. Run to go see Turning Red. It is an outstanding film, very well written, very inclusive. And yes, the main characters are young girls, but it doesn't matter. Just I found myself yelling at the TV because of the awful things that happened to her. Embarrassing, awful, not awful, like violent or whatever, but embarrassing stuff happening to her. I found myself yelling at the TV, which I haven't done in a long time. My daughter really enjoyed it as well. So definitely check it out. Ignore what people are saying about it. Check it out for yourself. I think you'll really like it. Teaser for season 2 of Only Murders in the Building came out this week as well. Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Demi Lovato, I believe, was a huge hit for Hulu, the first season. So they are presently filming their second season, and they released a teaser trailer for it. Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be officiating her daughter's wedding in the World of Warcraft. So that's definitely. I don't think I really thought that Jamie Lee Curtis was a gamer, but I probably should, because I think she's in that live action version of a game coming out soon too. So cool, I guess. Chainmail inspired clothing is a new thing now that has a rigid fabric, which is going to be almost like chainmail, but much more comfortable, is out. And finally, 7-Eleven has a new coffee called the Churro Chino, which is a cappuccino that tastes like a churro. So I got it in on time. I still got about 20 minutes before I got to get my kids ready for their bath and stuff like that. So thank you for this Monday edition of Dylan Knows. Next week will be on Saturday or Sunday. I don't think we got anything going on next week. So it'll probably be the usual time, Saturday night. And it'll be a smaller episode because I've already taken care of my Sunday, Monday stuff. So I'll just be talking about stuff that happens on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and on Saturday. Hopefully I will have an update on my audition stuff, and hopefully that what I'm anticipating in my head actually does not come to pass. So I'll let you know about that, and I'll let you know where I am in my screenplay as well. So on that note, enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. We still got 4 days. My kids have spring break next week, and my wife's taking off, so they're going to have a nice long vacation coming up. Me, I still got to freaking work. So I got to get ready to go. So cheers, mates, and thanks for watching, and stay cool. It's going to be temperate temperatures.